Welcome back. Story 1. I, 23 female, have been engaged to my fiancé Sam, 24 male, for a little over 2 years. He's gentle, thoughtful, and definitely on the quiet side. He's not into sports or cars, doesn't drink much, and he's not what my family would call a man's man. My dad and older brother Raymond, 26 male, are very traditional southern types, as in big on football, grilling, and being a provider. Raymond's fiancée, Nancy, 25 female, fits right in and has made it clear she doesn't really approve of Sam. There have been comments over the years, stuff like, "Sam's kind of soft," or "Don't you ever wish he would take charge more?" Nancy once joked that it must be exhausting being the one who wears the pants in my relationship. I have told them off every time, but they played off like I'm overreacting. Raymond's wedding is in a few months. When I got the formal invite last week, I noticed it was addressed only to me. I assumed it was a mistake because literally everyone else I talked to got a +1, even our younger sister Jade, who is bringing a guy she's been dating for less than 3 months. When I asked Raymond about it, he got awkward and said Sam isn't invited. I thought he was joking, but then he said, "Sam doesn't really vibe with our family culture." Nancy apparently feels like Sam looks down on her lifestyle. What? I told Raymond that was ridiculous, and if Sam wasn't welcome, then neither was I. He shrugged and said, "It's my choice, but they would still need his white BMW though, which Nancy wanted to use in her photos, since it goes with her theme. So just to be clear, I'm not welcome. My fiancé isn't welcome, but his car is." I told him no, that if Sam and I aren't good enough to be there, then neither is anything that belongs to him. Now he's accusing me of being petty and intentionally trying to ruin their day over something that isn't even about me. My parents are saying I should just let them use the car to keep the peace and rise above it. But at this point, I feel like I've already swallowed enough disrespect. Sam is hurt, but he told me I can do whatever I think is right. Honestly, I think he's being more gracious than anyone in my family deserves. So am I the a-hole for everything? Update. Nancy went full meltdown mode. She called me 3 times in a row, crying and then yelling that I was ruining her once-in-a-lifetime aesthetic. I hung up each time. She blasted the family group chat saying I was sabotaging the wedding, and everyone left her on red. Bless them. Apparently, she's scrambling for a replacement car, white and luxurious, and guess what? Nobody else in the family has one. Raymond followed up with a single text. "You made your point. Car, please." I left him on red. Mom is pressuring me to be the bigger person, but Jade and a couple of cousins privately said, "Nancy is a vain bitch," and to hold my fort. Sam and I are treating ourselves to a weekend trip during the wedding. We will be posting pictures on Facebook in the BMW. I'm totally in support of you on this, OP. Nancy and your brother are a-holes who clearly deserve each other. Sam is a sweetheart for not getting upset about this, because it's a very awful and upsetting situation to be put in. Your brother and her fiancé decided that he wasn't manly enough to be invited to their wedding. But the part that got me was when they asked for his car. How entitled and selfish could anyone be to not understand that if you're borrowing someone's car for your wedding shoot, the least you could do is invite them to the wedding? You and Sam should have a wonderful trip. You guys deserve it. I definitely recommend posting lots of pictures in the BMW too. It's petty, but they deserve it. Story 2. Am I the a-hole for holding an intervention for my girlfriend? My girlfriend was with her ex for about 6 years, and during that time, they got 2 dogs together. For clarity's sake, let's call them Simba 5 and Nala 3. Both were adopted, but when they were only a month old. When the relationship fell apart, her ex took Simba and she took Nala. The thing is, it has been 2 years, but they are still in constant communication with each other. They're always texting, snapping each other pictures and videos of the dogs. They meet up about 1 or 2 times a month to take both dogs to the park or on a hike together. They do a Christmas gift exchange thing for the dogs. They celebrate the anniversary of when they got the dogs, which they call Gotcha Day or something ridiculous. Apparently, Nala was a birthday gift from her ex, so her birthday is also Nala's Gotcha Day. Last year, she had a backyard barbecue get-together with her friends to celebrate, and of course, Simba and her ex showed up. The whole thing is bizarre. It's like they have a child custody arrangement, but there's no child, just dogs. I told her a few times that it makes me uncomfortable that she and her ex still spend so much time together. She just laughed and said she couldn't care less about the ex. She's only doing it to see Simba. She can't imagine not seeing Simba again, and it would be like losing a child. I talked to her best friend to get a reality check because she has seen them together almost as much as I have, and she agreed with me. I also talked to my sister because she has a dog herself to see if it's like a dog people thing, but my sister thinks the whole situation dynamic is weird too. So after making sure that I'm not a crazy jealous person, I asked my sister and girlfriend's best friend to help me talk to her to see how ridiculous this is. We all went to brunch a few days ago and we sort of took turns saying our piece. Girlfriend got mad, called us bullies for ganging up on her, then stormed off. I tried to contact her after, but she said she needs space and hasn't talked to me in 3 days. Am I the a-hole? You're slightly the a-hole hero, P. But honestly, you weren't an a-hole until later in the story when you roped your sister and your girlfriend's best friend into all of this. You all ganged up on her by sharing your piece. There was no way anything constructive was going to come out of that conversation. I understand that you're in a difficult place, but you're uncomfortable with your girlfriend's relationship with her ex. But you should have had a deeper conversation with her about it. Told her how much it hurts you and how uncomfortable their relationship makes you. Then you enlist the help of your sister and your girlfriend's best friend for support if necessary. The way you went about it made you the a-hole though, and I highly doubt it was effective in getting your point across to her. Now for some comments. You're the a-hole. If you don't like her spending time with her ex and she doesn't agree with your feelings, you have the option of ending your relationship. Many of my friends have done it. I understand the trust issues and the feeling that somebody is lurking all the time. And if you fight or in a difficult situation, mistakes might happen. But you can't call for an intervention every time you don't understand each other. It's embarrassing. Either end it or compromise. You're the a-hole. I'm still in contact with my ex-husband who has my dog that we bought together. My boyfriend doesn't care, because trust is the foundation of a relationship. This seems like insecurity, and it was definitely wrong to involve other people on a personal manner instead of talking privately. You did gang up on her and humiliate her. A relationship cannot survive without trust. And arguments are endless without learning to accept the past and trust the present. There is no real reason for mistrust here, unless she has cheated in the past. Exes can be friends. You're the a-hole. Be honest. The intervention was for you. Your girlfriend wasn't doing anything unhealthy or maladaptive. You just didn't like it. Interventions are intended to make the person's life better, healthier. If this intervention worked, your girlfriend would be no better off. The conversation should have been between you two. If she doesn't want to budge and you're very bothered by it, you get to decide what you want to do, put up with it or leave it, etc. Most can sympathize with you, however. You don't feel the same way about dogs as your girlfriend does, and you're focusing on the ex. Everyone gets some level of insecurity at some point, and you're not an awful person because of it. Story 3. Am I the a-hole for booking my wedding 1 month after my sister-in-law's wedding? I had always wanted a June wedding since I was a little girl, and I finally got to have it a couple months ago. My husband's sister, who I will call sister-in-law, got married a month before me in May. We both got engaged last year. She got engaged first, and it was a surprise to everyone because she was in an off-again, on-again relationship, and they had been back together for only 1 month when he popped the question. I got engaged 2 weeks after. My husband spent months planning the proposal with our 4-year-old daughter, but sister-in-law was seething at us for stealing her thunder. When we announced our wedding date, sister-in-law came over and tried to talk us into postponing our wedding. She said that 1 month was too close for 2 weddings to happen in the same family, and she chose her date first, so she got to keep it. I told her that it was always my dream to have a June wedding, and we were keeping the date. She went into a tirade and said a lot of hurtful things, like that I shouldn't be wearing a white dress because we have a kid together. She got so belligerent that my husband kicked her out of our house. My mother-in-law called us the next day and tried to talk us into pushing back our wedding date. We stood our ground and said that our wedding date was set in stone and there was nothing anyone could do about it. My husband's family gave me the cold shoulder and whispered among themselves that I was trying to upstage sister-in-law, and I was being inconsiderate to the out-of-town guests who would have to fly in twice in a month. Despite all this, my husband and I went to sister-in-law's wedding, and we were polite, respectful, and supportive the whole time, even though she was a little nasty to us. A month later, sister-in-law and her husband came to our wedding and they openly bashed everything. She loudly snickered at my white dress, made snide comments about the decorations and the bridesmaid dresses, and told some of my guests that her wedding was better. They left as soon as dinner was over, as did some of my in-laws. Not gonna lie, I've cried over this a bit. That was 2 months ago, and my husband's entire family hasn't stopped giving me the cold shoulder. Are they justified in being angry with me? Was I the a-hole? Now for some comments. Everyone sucks here. I've never heard anybody happy about going to 2 weddings in 2 months. Planning a wedding that close to another close family member is a crappy thing to do. Time off work is hard and travel is expensive. You could have postponed. June comes every year. Your sister-in-law sounds petty and small. You're the a-hole to your in-laws. Ignoring all family dynamics and other factors, yes, you can have your wedding whenever your heart desires. But actions have consequences. You acted in a way that you knew would piss off your in-laws. I'm not sure why you are surprised that this had negative consequences for you, especially when you already knew they didn't like you all that much. You basically proved every negative thought they've ever had about you. You could have acknowledged the logistical and optical problems this would cause and been gracious. Instead, you dug your heels in about some childish fantasy. Everyone sucks here. Your sister-in-law sounds rude and could have handled it far better. You seemed unwilling to consider her points or your guests. I think your husband should have postponed the engagement if it was only 2 weeks after his sister's. Unless he paid for a photographer or something that absolutely couldn't be switched. If they had no prior knowledge of his actual planning, I can see why they would think it upstaging her proposal. You could have easily moved your date to July or August, and your grandmother could have attended. Guests may not complain, but that is a good amount of money to spend, especially if you all shared some of the same wedding party.